two ways of looking at the early dismissal of Jos Buttler. If Rajasthan were to go on to win the game, which they looked as if they're in the driver's seat to do, it'll mean that yet again they've got over the line and they're not reliant on Buttler, which appeared to be the case early on in the season, particularly when he scored those hundreds in 3 out of the 4 grounds. 2 of 5 Buttler today. Yashasvi Jaiswal, the youngster coming back in, is driving proceedings. 73 for 4 in 10 overs. Cricbuzz Comm Box. I'm joined by Pommie Mbangwa. I think for several fronts, if you're looking to get into the playoffs, it would be good news for Rajasthan Royals. Obviously, you wouldn't want Buttler out of form, but the fact that they're winning without Buttler is the good part of it.
Yeah, I suppose you have to be a bit philosophical about that. Some will say he scored all his runs up at the front and he's got none left. Others will say he's due some runs, and going into the playoffs with him due some runs is a good thing. It would have been nice, I think, of course, and we're saying so, that he gets some runs in this game and shows some sort of glimpse that he's going back to what was. But at present, he's off the boil, and it's not a worry if your others are getting you over the line. However, he's so big a player that at the start of every game, there's that hope that he can sort of come back. And yeah, this is telling, isn't it? Last 7 innings, less than 20 is what he averages, and just the 150. As I say, if you are Rajasthan Royals, you're thinking going into those playoffs, he's due some runs, and he might well get, 2 games, 1 game, whichever one, he's going to get us some runs and win us the game as he's done earlier on.
The contrast between the two bowling attacks is obviously very apparent. 5 established bowlers, as we keep saying, for the teams at the top, Gujarat, Lucknow and Rajasthan. But for Chennai, they've not really had a settled attack throughout the tournament, never really set the place on fire, and yet individuals have been contributing, and hence, whenever they've done well, it's been some individual performances from the bowlers that have got them over the line rather than a unit.
Yeah, I suppose first up, you sort of got to talk about who's not there. And Deepak Chahar is a big miss, because that's the way they kind of have gone over the past few years. And he's done really well. So they sort of got a certain thing out of him and been able to bank on him. Got to say, though, that Mukesh Chaudhary, with the way that he's come into the side, has done decently. He's bowled really well, probably exceeded expectations, and to come in as a replacement and then end up being not so much first choice, but very much a part of the bowling lineup and bowling in that power play, trying to swing it in the same way that Deepak Chahar did, except left arm. Yeah, I think that's a good job done. I like Simajit. I think he's got a bit to learn, and he's going to have to learn some things to try and figure out how things go. But he's bowled nicely. He's bowled good pace. Where things have not gone according to plan is that they bought Chris Jordan, and he started poorly, and then just couldn't get going, to the point where they decided, okay, to cut our losses there, we'll go with the local talent there, and we'll bolster the batting. And that seemed to work, actually. That's kind of worked okay. Also, in that bowling group, you want to be able to fit a Jadeja in and, have a kind of more rounded group. You'd like more experience. There's a Dwayne Bravo who you can use, and he's evergreen. He's kind of done good things all the way through, continues to take wickets, continues to be difficult to get away at the back end. So it's okay without being spectacular, and there are enough good things coming out of there. And then chuck in, as a final thing, chuck in the fact that Patirana turns up, and you don't know how much you've got, what you've got. You're still trying to figure it out, as is the case with batters when they've got to face him. So they've got stuff to work with in as far as their bowling lineup.
Well, we're looking at the future of Chennai. For now, we just don't want to look more than maybe 8 overs into the future, and that is in terms of trying to defend a total. But for Rajasthan, no Buttler, no Samsung. He's gone as well. Lost a couple of wickets, one in the first 6, one between 7 and 10, and another wicket has fallen, even as we say. Devdutt Padikkal goes to the man of the hour, Moeen Ali. Add to his 90 plus that he scores, he picks up a wicket. Now, I was just about to ask you the question, run chase under control at the moment. Has this wicket changed your thought process or whatever you would have answered?
No, I was always leaning towards I want to see how Moeen Ali goes, because in the last 3 games, I think it is, he's bowled really well. It's been difficult to get away, whatever the result of the game. He's got wickets 2 and 3 and 2, I think. That's what's in my head. I'm not sure if I'm entirely correct, but that's every time he's come on, he's managed to vary pace. He's managed to get some spin because of just the time we're in the competition, and he's been very difficult to get away. It should be under control for Rajasthan Royals. They would kick themselves if they couldn't get over the line from here, having got their start. And even though Padikkal goes out, Jaiswal's batting quite nicely. They've got a measure of control, and they'll hope that Hetmeyer can also come back and sort of carry on where he left off. And if he does, they'll be okay. They've got enough resources, I think. You never know, but as far as I'm concerned, they've got enough resources and they should get over the line.
That's what we feel here. It should be Rajasthan, who technically have qualified, because there was a little point if they had lost by a certain number of runs, there was a question mark. So first and foremost, qualified, certainty, they've got the cue. Now it's a matter of get over the line and get into second place, with Lucknow in third place. So that's all to play for, and so much more to look forward to. We'll wrap it all at the end of the innings.